Okay, I want to make a video on knives, and I want you to understand something about a knife. If you check my description, if you're looking for a knife, go check out DHL Trading. They have knives from every maker going. And you'll find when new knives come out, especially by guys that make custom knives, like Bark River here, they don't last very long. They're in and out very quickly. Another thing about knives to consider is the type of steel that it's made from. And that also determines the price of an actual knife. Now, everybody goes crazy about, how big is a knife, right? Or they go crazy about the type of steel, right? Like in a Bark River knife. And they tell you about measurements and sizes, and they all go crazy with their knives because they're showing them off. That's why I'm not making this video for that reason. You'll see a lot of people make videos on folders, for example. And I'm going to tell you why some of these knives are better than others. And you're probably going to think, well, it must be because of the steel. No, that's not it at all. And you'll find when you talk about knives, there's so much controversy. If you say this steel's no good, you'll have 10 other people who'll say this steel's fine. It's just nuts. It was funny. I was in a forum on Facebook, and I had joined this group. And normally I don't join groups on Facebook because there's just so much controversy on there. It's just ridiculous. I had posted about permethrin. I told them where to buy it, and I told them how good it is with ticks. We have a tick explosion going on here in Tennessee. You might as well say I have ticks year-round. We might get 2 weeks where we don't if it gets super cold. I obviously had somebody that jumped in there and says, I can't believe you're putting that poison on your skin. And I was just like, yeah. And I replied to him. I says, yeah, you're right. It's better for me to get Lyme disease and die. They only had 27 people die in California this year. Would you like me to label all the other states on what happened to people? I mean, the level of stupidity is just unbelievable. And you'll always get somebody that says, well, I'm going to use the natural stuff. I'm a purist. Good for you. One thing's for sure, what makes us special is we're all different. And we all have opinions, and we all know what that means. Opinions are for assholes. But there are certain things that just make sense, okay? And certain things that we should follow. Like using permethrin to keep the ticks away unless you want to get sick. But knives themselves, there's something about a knife that no one considers. And out of these knives, I have one knife here that you have to be very, very careful of. And that's the thing. Now, I carry 2 knives on my side when I go into the bush. I carry my Bark River, which is this one. I carry my Etsy. It's a smaller one. I think that's the Yuzu. Yeah. It's a smaller one with my Carta handles. Those are the 2 I carry. I do not carry this one, even though it's a beautiful knife. And it does come with a nice sheath. But it's just too big and too heavy. It's something I'll probably keep in my vehicle. When I seen it, I just thought it was sharp looking. And of course, I have the one with my everyday carry. I carry in my pocket when I leave the house. And this one has a particular reason too. Now, knives come in all different shapes and flavors. And I'm not going to tell you what's the best size for you to carry, what's the best steel. Nope, it's not what I'm going to tell you. Not at all. What I'm going to tell you is to be careful of the handle. So, for example, on my Bark River knife, which is a very expensive knife because of the steel, the handles are of a pine cone. okay? And there's a little bit of roughness there. And I could take that roughness off if I wanted to crazy glue it and slide it in there and then give it a quick sand. But I kind of like that little bit of roughness on this knife. The Etsy knife has a black coating there. You see that black coating on the blade? And it has micarta handles. Now, that black coating is to prevent it from rusting, is what it is. These knives you have to oil. Now, I've even seen people take their Etsy knife and strip all that black off and then oil it down or even patina it, and they get all fancy. I would advise you don't do that because you're just setting yourself up for failure and that knife's going to rust. There's a reason they actually put that black on there. But here's an important rule. This knife, a lot of people would want to use for cutting their meat and for eating with. Because you're out in the bush, you're limited. It's not like you're taking full everything. Now, I do take a fork, a spoon, and a knife because I like to eat like a human being and not an animal. But a lot of people would pull this one out because it's smaller instead of the bark ribber and start using it. So let's say I take this out and I start cutting chicken before I cook it. So I'm cutting my chicken. First off, all that blackness on there is going to get into your food. I don't think that's very good for you to eat. What do you think? At the same time, this has micarta handles on it. Do you want to get salmonella poisoning? It's a good way to get it because this will hold it inside the micarta handle. The bark ribber knife, no blackness that'll go in because of the type of steel. The handles, no salmonella poisoning can get in there because you can just wipe them off and clean them. Where micarta handles, it's going to get in there and it's going to be very difficult to clean. So when you're looking at your knife and you're thinking about buying a knife, you have a couple things to consider. Do not, if you have micarta handles, take a good look at your handles, pull that knife out and use it on raw chicken. Do not use any knife that's coated in blackness on the blade to use it on your meat. This is strictly for wood, for bushcraft, nothing else. It's not all purpose. Don't be stupid and make yourself sick because I'll tell you, when you wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night and your stomach's killing you, you're going to find out really quick. You're going to say, why am I so sick? Oh my God. And meanwhile, it was because of this. And you weren't thinking. Be very, very aware of what you're doing with your food. Now, this particular knife, again, smooth handles, easy to clean, blades not coated in blackness or some chemical. This would be a much better blade to use. Even this blade, easy to clean. Now, I made a post where I posted a camper of his setup. And that entire post had all kinds of plastic cups, plastic knives and forks, plastic canteen. I mean, 60% of the stuff he had was plastic. Microplastics are a real thing. If your coffee maker is plastic, I mean, you really have to start looking around the house and even what you've got in your backpack because it's killing you. And that's very important. Now, I've gotten rid of all the plastic in my house. I don't use a coffee maker with plastic. I don't use anything with plastic anymore. Even my water containers are stainless steel that go on my backpack from now on. Or I'm using titanium. I'm very, very particular what is being put in my mouth and in my body. I want to live a few more years. That would be nice. I've seen things with microplastics getting into people's brains. All kinds of articles I've read, and I just shake my head. Corporations don't seem to care about your health. All they care about is their buck and how they can kill you. And that's all there is to it. Now, I'm sure over time, micarta handles will change, or you can change them. Because with these Etsy knives, you can change out the handles. Now, Etsy does make a different steel now, so it doesn't need that black coating, but you got to pay more for that knife. You might want to consider that. They also make a different handle which is like a rubber type of handle, which if you were to use that particular knife for prepping chicken, then it would be much easier to clean for the next use. So I really want you to pay attention to what the handle is, what the coating is, and what you're doing with your knives. If you want to use an all-purpose knife, then consider this. Consider a knife that's a stainless steel knife or some other type of steel that doesn't need that black coating, because you don't need that in your body. And like I said, link in the bottom, DHL Trading has every knife you can imagine, even the bark rubbers. It's where about this one. And you can get any knife you want. It doesn't have to be super expensive. You just need to pay attention to what the handle's being made of. Is it going to absorb that chicken? And could it give you salmonella poisoning? Is it coated with some black coating like this, to where that's going to go in your food if you choose to use it? Now, a lot of people say, I don't care. Well, if you don't care, so be it. But I am very particular what I put in my body. I quit smoking 10 years ago. I feel great. I breathe great. I taste great. I can walk much further than I used to when I did smoke. Well, just that little thing made a difference in my life. So imagine what these little choices will make a difference in your life. Anyhow, I want you all to pay attention, stay healthy, and watch which knife you buy. Catch you guys on the next one.